Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from Nerdrotic.com, and I am live in San Francisco, California. Little late for a nooner, but it might be noon somewhere, I'm pretty sure. Remember not to panic. Hi, everyone. Well, again, I have to say, just when you think the news is going to slow down, well, the sun rises, and here we are. So welcome to, again, a very late Nerdrotic Nooner. Greetings, everyone. It's good to see you. Yeah, I'm starting on time. Don't get used to it. What's up, Thomas Preston, Sir Michael the Tall, is your brother, Sir Duncan the Tall, and King Kane, Rumschke, Wabbit 7777, Winter Toker. Hey. Does that mean you only toke in the winter? So you take the other seasons off? I'm curious. Mikey Woods and his wrench. What's up? Mark Littlewood, Perth Comics, Lizzo, Optimal, and then something Asian. I can't say it. Angry Mango. Okay. And Desiree Clary and Scott McGregor and Atomic Vomit. I know what that is. I do. Draco Argentinius, the 13th Warrior, SB, Latiz, Blah, Omer, and Tim F., longtime viewer, listener, friend, Tim F. Hail. What's up? Matthew Fowler, Marco Antonio Checa Funke. And are you Funke? Hyperion 5182, Cats of Saturn, Jason, and Crispy. Welcome, everybody. So we're going to let some people roll in. We're going to talk about Lord of the Rings, of course. And we're going to talk about the comic industry. I discussed it on the Inquisition, but I don't know if everybody saw it. So I want to talk about Sean Gordon Murphy's announcement of his Indiegogo. And then, of course, that will lead into Kickstarter, as Zach puts it, firing 40% of their comrades, which I thought was funny. That was good. Well played, sir. And of course, we have to talk about Deadpool a little bit and the national treasure that is Rob Liefeld. Okay. So in my video, I had there's a cut that I took out because, I was worried about monetization because my last live stream got ghosted because I put a Cyberman, smoking a cigarette on it. So I guess you can't do that. And I didn't want to show what, if you watch that whole video, go to Bounding Into Comics article on it and watch the whole interview. It's pretty funny. He is, I think he's pretty buzzed, to say the least. Maybe hammered, buzzed to hammered throughout that entire interview. So, hey, why not? He's locked down. But I got a fever. And then, of course, the whole Dana Schwartz thing blew up over the last couple of days with Lord of the Rings. So that started on the 5th. All right. So I remember seeing somebody shot it to me on the 5th, and I retweeted it here. And then Candace, I guess, because I'm blocked by Dana Schwartz, so unfortunate. Candace was able to see like the context of it, and she shot it to me, and it looked bad. It looked really bad. Now, Brian Cogman used to work on Game of Thrones, and I have to mention, tomorrow is the anniversary of the Bells, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. When Daenerys loses her mind and kills women and children, and apparently we had to see that coming. That was all foreshadowed throughout the entire series, even though it wasn't. But tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of the Bells. Maybe I'll do something tomorrow night. I'm going to be streaming with Az on Tuesday morning. We're going to be bagging and boarding a long box of Batman comics. But all right, so that's when this whole thing started, and I just thought it was kind of done with. I am doing a video on the Lord of the Rings subject. It'll be a little different, and it'll probably be out tomorrow afternoon, because I wanted to do some background checks on some of the writers. So I've been digging kind of deep because I made a promise in my female Gandalf video that I'm going to keep. That if they turn Lord of the Rings woke, if it's SJW LOTR, I will dedicate my entire existence to bringing that show down. I will go Dark Side Phil. I'll record 6-hour live streams and chop them up into 10-minute bits and have 57,000 uploads by the end of the year. I promise you. They will be coming for Lord of the Rings out of our cold, dead hands. It's the greatest story ever told. It is, well, literally Western canon. And while Brian Cogman says it's just fine, I disagree. I don't think our Western canon with particular franchises has been fine at all. I think it's been quite the opposite of fine. I think it's pretty screwed up, actually. Has Star Wars been fine? Has Star Trek been fine? Has Doctor Who been fine? I don't think so. So let's share the original tweet here. And yeah, I'm terrible on Twitter because I don't care about it. Now, that's not judging. I know a lot of my friends enjoy Twitter. They have a good time. They like to, start a few fires here and there, and good for them. I'm not judging. I'm just, I'm not into it. I'm not. So I got a response from Brian Cogman, and thanks. I would have never have seen it if it wasn't for Geeky Candy. So thank you. I would have just blown it off. But let's get this up here while we have people rolling in. I don't even know if I've got my thing set up here, but whatever. Who cares? There we go. Of course I don't. There we go. So that was the tweet from the 5th. And of course, it sent everybody reeling. People were not... you know what? It turns out to be good news. So I'll spoilers. It turns out to be good news, but people were not happy. People were definitely not happy. And I gotta say, his response to me wasn't too bad. I didn't take it too harsh. So if we would have seen responses like that from, I don't know, people in the comic book industry, things might be different. Who knows? I'll pull up. By the way, again, well done, Geeky Candy, on this whole thing. Drunk 3PO sent me. Oh, awesome, nice. So Drunk 3PO got his cookies in his T-shirt. Sweet, that's good to know. I've got to pull up Cogman's tweet. I'm blocked by Dana Schwartz, and it's heartbreaking because I was really rooting for her and Az to get together. I thought they would be just a great couple. And listen, my video tomorrow's not, Dana's going to be in it, and I'm sure she loves being in our videos, but she's not the focus at all. Not at all. She is just a part of the problem, a cog in the machine. What bothers me the most about The Lord of the Rings is the showrunners. And I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but I'm not the biggest fan of bad reboot. And anybody associated with bad reboot tends to wokeify and crapify our favorite franchises, Star Trek, Star Wars. They're coming for you, DC. I'm so sorry. I am. I'm not happy about that. But the two gentlemen who are running the show have zero show running experience, and we'll look at their IMDb later. It's one of them's name is Payne. I can't even remember their names. So they were going to work on Star Trek 4. They did some uncredited work on Star Trek Beyond, and that's it. That's all they've done. So they are running the show. Now, I want to start this live stream with some good news. I talked about it on my Super Chat Square Up and on Inquisition, but I haven't formally said anything here. So I got to thank Lady Gravemaster for getting me this solid information that Tom Shippey is still on Lord of the Rings. So that's good news. We got some good news. Tom Shippey still part of the show. Now, how much? I don't know. Maybe they're just keeping his name there because they know the fans will absolutely revolt. Now, who is Tom Shippey? He is basically a Tolkienologist. He is the man when it comes to the Legendarium. And listen, I'm a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings, but I'm not like the OneRing.net, which is a good channel. I highly recommend it. And Men of the West, again, I've recommended them if you like Lord of the Rings lore. They're good. They're really good. I enjoy it. When you don't want to like watch culture war videos, you want to take a little break, just hear some lore about something you love. It's a good channel. I like it. So, but a lot of people involved in this show are from Bad Robot. They have a lot of Star Trek Into Darkness. There's a couple of MCU people involved, but I don't know if Tom Shippey can outweigh everybody else. I hope so. I hope I'm wrong in the way I was wrong about The Witcher, but you never know. You never know. So, and we'll look at the Bounding in the Comics article, but that was his response. So I tweeted at him and I said, unsolicited advice. I'm always available for free consultation. Do whatever Tom Shippey says at every turn. Honor Tolkien and his messages. That's it. And his, which is, he was obviously pro-environment. He thought the internal combustion engine was the worst thing to ever happen to man. All that stuff will be in my video. So honor his story, which was Northern European mythology, because England didn't really have one. It was taken away when I always get this wrong, when the Normans invaded their English mythology. I can't remember the year. Sorry. English mythology only goes back to like King Arthur and this is Tolkien's words, by the way, and Robin Hood, and he wanted to have something go further back, just like Roman and Greek mythology. So the Lord of the Rings essentially takes place 7,000 to 9,000 years ago in Northern Europe. It is Earth at a different time, basically. And that's what it was. That's what it was. It wasn't written as a fantasy novel, even though he defined the genre. That's not how it was written. So it's not something that can be made relevant or modernized. Not really. Now, do I expect there to be a bunch of white folk running around in there? No. But you need to honor Tolkien's vision, and you will make everybody happy, because it wasn't just a story. I'm not going to read you, Dana Schwartz wrote a blog called Banish Western Canon. I'll sum it up for you. It's all about the male perspective, and a lot of women writers were overlooked. And certainly in the 20s and 30s, I'm not going to argue with her, but I'm not going to say that's happening right now. I would honestly say publishing is the domain of women in a lot of ways, which is fine. I have no problem with it. But it's okay to have both. I'm tired of taking away something and acting like that's progress. Progress is just adding more. So if you want to really get into other cultures' mythology, then adapt other cultures' mythology. Every culture has a mythology pretty much. And I bet you there's a bunch we haven't seen. Why don't you adapt that? Instead, they want to adapt something that's been done so they can take something away. Our modern mythology? Doctor Who, Star Wars. Did they add to it or did they take something away? So Dana is a terrific writer and cool person. Okay. I mean, he knows her. I don't. I'm just going by her act online and her incessant need to kick the hornet's nest. She likes to do it, by the way. I'm sure she enjoys the hell out of it. And, you know, we do too at some point. But when it comes to customer service, which you are, Brian Cogman's in that business now. Dana's in that business now because she's writing She-Hulk. You now represent your company. You also are taking on something that thousands of people, millions of people have loved for decades, and they are owed respect because they are the reason it's there. There's a lot of She-Hulk fans out there, not recently, but older She-Hulk stuff. I love it. If you're a Fantastic Four fan, you love She-Hulk. So if you're a John Byrne fan, you love She-Hulk. So I'd love to see a good She-Hulk. I would have rather seen She-Hulk before Captain Marvel, long before Captain Marvel. So he says also Western canon will be just fine. Nah, not really. This has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. I'm not the showrunner. I'm just a consulting producer. Be nice. I am being nice. I am offering unsolicited advice to help your show make the most money, get the most amount of subscribers for Amazon Prime by telling you a truth that nobody in the Access media and none of your coworkers would tell you. Dana Schwartz's name being attached, even if it doesn't matter at this point, whether she writes a good story or not, her name being attached will alienate people before it even comes out because of the way she's acted. Now, if she changes her act and she shows that she can like make this kick-ass She-Hulk show that's not filled with intersectional feminism, great. Then I will say, hey, I was wrong. And man, I hope she doesn't block Az anymore because I really am rooting for those kids. I really am. So we're going to get to John F. Trent wrote an article about it today. So yeah, I guess it made a little news. Now I was a little busy today making my video, but I peeked in a little bit. So before we get to you, we will get to this article real quick, and I need to check and make sure, of course, we're not ghosted, which it doesn't look like we are. Great. Awesome. That's always good. All right. Now, I was pissed when I first saw this. The reason I'm not like raging pissed right now is because she's not on the job. I'll bring myself back here. Does that not mean that this isn't a giant red flag? Of course it is. I think you'd be smart to just assume anything that was in production prior to March 16th, 2020 is going to be woke. And if it's not, yes, awesome. Pleasant surprise. Now I'm willing to start to believe that anything made after that date, that's when the shift might happen. But I'm sticking with the expiration date was March 16th. We're still going to get stuff. It's still going to trickle out for a couple of years. But, I mean, change or die. I mean, that's all Hollywood needs to do. Or if they're okay just making very specialized movies to a very small group of people, which is what they're shooting for right now. And it's clear, like something like The Joker was a complete accident. They never expected it to do that well. And it also got some of the best publicity ever by people telling other people not to go see it, obviously. So, Lord of the Rings consulting producer claims he's not recruiting Dana Schwartz for Amazon's upcoming Lord of the Rings series. Now, he's just a consulting producer. It doesn't mean he can't recruit. He can't like, hey, I know this person. And she's got, the right mindset, if you know what I'm saying. Lord of the Rings consulting producer Brian Cogman claims he's not recruiting She-Hulk writer Dana Schwartz for Amazon's upcoming Lord of the Rings series. Cogman recently sparked fears that Schwartz, known for her attacks on South Park, calling for an end to Western canon and comparing men to Oscar the Grouch, could be getting herself involved in the Lord of the Rings series. Schwartz has taken to Twitter to indicate that her time in the She-Hulk writing room had ended and was asking if there was a showrunner or writer who was looking for someone with her skill set. Could you make money professionally just sniping on Twitter? I think if you could, there'd be some really rich people right now. Maybe you can. Maybe you can. Before we get back to that. So her tweet was strange. She put up a tweet basically saying the She-Hulk writing room has ended. Now, she's a writer, and I'm confused by that statement. It's ended? Like, they shut it down? Did they shut down production? Did they pause production? Did you get fired? Or was your writing session over and now they're going to go into production? That's a weird way to put it. Maybe she put it, she probably put it that way on purpose, now that I think about it. Well, wouldn't you, I thought she was the head writer. Wouldn't you be sticking around during the production? Because when they shoot stuff, they change scripts all the time. There's notes. I don't know. It's very weird. So when she was asked for clarification, she says, it ended. All right. I kind of take that as it's over. I could be wrong. I don't know. She wrote, She-Hulk room ended. So, it's so weird. She-Hulk room ended. So if you happen to be a showrunner looking for a writer who makes jokes and writes books and knows a lot of historical fun facts, hit me up. I'm sure they'd like to. I know Az would. The She-Hulk room ended. I don't know. How do you guys take that in the chat? I'm a little confused by that one, but I'm easily confused. Schwartz added. Also, if you're an editor, I read that part. So, all right. Oh, okay. Also, if you're an editor who needs a freelancer or on a feature, I happen to have a very low-key social life and a lot of free time at the moment. I wonder why Dana has a low-key social life. Huh. Again, if you call Az, I think that would pick up that social life a little bit. It would. He's waiting for you. He is. That's referring to a Friday Night Tights, by the way. We were shipping Dana and Az. It was #Danaz. #Danaz. And Cogman's all, hi, yes, are your DMs open? And of course, we went, what the hell? And, or you could just DM me. Thanks. Love the podcast, by the way. Just followed you. Cogman's comments and subsequent conversation would be brought to the attention of YouTuber Gary Beekler. And he spelled my name right. Bless you, John. Of Nerdrotic by fellow YouTuber Geeky Candy, with the assumption that Cogman was reaching out to Schwartz to bring her onto Lord of the Rings. Now, I have a question. How come all these Lord of the Rings people have all this free time? It's supposed to be the most expensive show of all time. It's supposed to be the biggest show of all time, the biggest production of all time. I know they're shut down right now, but you would still think there's a lot of work to be done, like a ton of work to be done. Now, I have a video that's up there. Came out about 2 months ago where the OneRing.net reported that the writer's room had been fired, every single one of them. Now, that's not Brian Cogman. He's a producer. But the writer's room had been fired, including Tom Shippey. And we haven't got clarification, but I went to IMDb. I know it's all out there. And I just checked out a few of the writers on Twitter, and I noticed they weren't tweeting about Lord of the Rings. Now, they might be under NDAs. I understand that. But there's no NDA that says you can't go, I'm having a really good time on Lord of the Rings. Yeah, you could state where you work. Maybe they're just trying to be safe. That's a possibility. Now, somebody did ask Dana, I can't show it to you, but I can read it to you. Somebody did ask Dana for more clarification on the She-Hulk thing. and she answered back. And again, thanks to Geeky Candy. Somebody from comicbook.com reached out to her and said, "Hey, I know you can't talk about specifics, but could we talk about just, your experience on the show?" And her answer was, "Sorry, can't." Now, I wouldn't want to talk to comicbook.com either, but I don't know why she wouldn't want to, because that would be a very friendly place for her. The CBS owned comicbook.com, by the way. Let's go back to the article. And there's Geeky's tweet, which did pretty well. Thousands of people liked it. And R.I.P. Lord of the Rings. If they go this route, it will be R.I.P. Lord of the Rings. I don't think you can blame us for assuming that. And I do appreciate Brian Cogman clearing it up and not being, he said be nice, whatever. I don't take that personally. I actually, like I said before, if more comic book creators would respond like he did, that was professional. All right. That was professional. He was talking to me like he's, my dad, and I'm probably older than the dude, but whatever. I don't care. Beekler would write, always available for free consultation, Lord of the Rings, for Lord of the Rings on Prime. Keep Tom shippy and listen to him at every turn. Honor Tolkien's message and his mythology. Do not hire a Dana Banish Western Canon Schwartz at any cost. At any cost. Then he responded, okay, a few people have been misinformed and aren't reading my profile closely, so here it goes. This just once. And he's a consulting producer, basically. I'm a consulting producer on Lord of the Rings. The job is exactly what it sounds like. I was involved heavily at the beginning, helping the incredible Murderers Row of writers get the thing off the ground before stepping away to focus on my own shows for Amazon. And that was prior to maybe that writer's room being fired. The one thing they were filming, according to OneRing.net, which is I've been going to that website forever, since the Lord of the Rings movies were coming out, and that's where I'd go for the Lord of the Rings movies new. So that was 2003, 2002, long time. And they said that the only thing that was being shot was the pilot, and it required like huge water tanks. So, that could mean a lot of things, but listen, I want this show to be good. I responded back to him. I said, listen, you make a great Lord of the Rings show. I will be the one shill to rule them all, period. But you don't make one, I'll be the opposite of that, to be honest with you. I'll be the opposite of that. The thing I hear the most from you all is you just don't want it to exist, period. I think so many people have lost faith in Hollywood, and I don't blame you one single bit. I don't know if I want it to exist too, because I hold out hope, but I am expecting the worst. And you would hope that Amazon spending $1 billion on this thing, $1 billion altogether, they would want the most people watching it possible. So, could that happen? Sure. It's going to be years though. This thing was a couple years off anyway, and they were just filming a pilot. Now you can add another year to that. Who knows if it happens right now? Christ. They didn't prioritize Deadpool 3. Disney needs money, like bad, and they're giving us female Star Wars and Ironheart, and nobody's talking about Deadpool, and the creator has to come out and basically, put him on blast, which was great. I don't know. He doesn't care. Rob Liefeld doesn't give a crap, and God bless him for it. But hey, thanks, John, for writing that. I appreciate that, and putting up the tweets and making an interesting article. I appreciate that, John. Let's get to you guys a little bit, and then we'll get to Kickstarter in the comic book industry. But leave effing Lord of the Rings alone. Leave it alone. Look for a video tomorrow. I will elaborate more on it, and we will get to know some of the writers for Lord of the Rings. You know, I've done these videos before. I had a getting to know some of the writers for Doctor Who, and I've done that for Star Trek. So we're going to get to know the writers for Lord of the Rings. There's no money to waste on this. You're right, Dario. I mean, $1 billion is a lot of money on entertainment, period. It's obscene, to be honest with you. But, I mean, if it entertains millions of people and makes millions of people happy like the films did, great. The films are perfect. They're absolutely perfect. And I get something new out of them every time. I watch them a ton. The reason my Lord of the Rings video is not done today is because I was getting some clips out and I ended up watching Two Towers. So I'm busted. That's why I was late. Hail, Gary. I was just about to watch the Two Towers. Whoa. Synchronicity. But I want to hear the live stream. Well, Paisley Gemini, I appreciate that for $4.99. There's no way I could be as entertaining as that movie, but I appreciate it. That's my favorite of the trilogy. If I have to pick a favorite, it's the Two Towers, because I love King Theoden. I love his story, his whole arc, and it begins there. And again, you can kind of relate it to addiction. Him being possessed by Saruman is kind of like addiction. And when he woke up again, he felt guilt. His son died. He felt like he wasn't worthy, and it was such a good story. Such a good story. Economy needs you. Shut up and spend this money. Marcos Cato for $1.99. Okay. I'm actually saving my money. Like, I'm kind of trying to emulate my dad, who was the cheapest mofo on the planet this side of Melissa's dad. But, I'm trying to emulate my dad right now. I am getting a new microphone. I'm going to splurge and get one of those Joe Rogan Shure mics, which I had no idea Michael Jackson used. There you go. Apparently, Sony creating thousands of fake. Yes, we're going to. Okay, this is good. This is good. Mr. Insanity for $4.99. This is about Naughty Dog. Apparently, Sony is creating thousands of fake perfect reviews for The Last of Us to boost the game. Do they really think that'll help at this point? I've got to look into the Angry Joe thing because I don't entirely know what's going on with that. I saw the reaction to what he did, but I don't want to condemn him without knowing. All I'm going to say is I'm going to back my friends no matter what. Lethal Lightning got taken down again last night, but not a strike. He got his live stream taken down again. So they're still doing this crap. And I said I was only going to make one video unless they kept doing it. And I'm going to have to signal boost this at some point. Maybe I'll just do 5 minutes of the golf swing. I don't know. But lay off a Lethal Lightning, okay? They're going after the little channels. And that's deliberate, in my opinion. I don't want to say little. I'm sorry. Up and coming channels. Lethal Lightning's up and coming. He's not little. Yeah, so creating thousands of fake perfect reviews. That sounds familiar. Why does that sound familiar? Ichibaka. That's right. Ichibaka reminded me that the Fall of Skywalker is still at 86% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes months later, and he put up all the times the count had changed from 9,700 to 97,000. That is impossible. It is more possible for me to travel in time than for that to happen. It is more possible for me to be struck by lightning twice than that to happen. So yeah, I'm not surprised Sony is doing that, and they're just making things worse. Sony, keep doing it. Keep doing it. You're going to help so many people on YouTube. You're going to help so many small business owners right now. So keep doing it. And by the way, you're going to completely F your game. But you are helping a lot of people right now. So, I mean, we got to thank Sony. Thank you, Sony and Naughty Dog, for being complete idiots. Carry on. Carry on. I look forward to the barbecue at Jeremy's summer home. Swamp Thing is back. They put it on. So, no. The CW. So we're gonna have people in swamps talking about their feelings. Great. Jonathan G. Rodriguez. I was hoping for the best for that show, and it had a good beginning, and it just went completely woke at the end. So I guess the CW is a good destination. But what's that mean for DC streaming? Goddamn Warner Brothers. I knew the minute Jar Jar Abrams got to Warner Brothers, they would start being stupid again. And when they do something smart, it's accidental. The Joker was an accident. I'm sure they'll screw up Henry Cavill coming back as Superman, which everybody wants, by the way. Everybody wants. So, of course, they won't do it. Scott Rainford for £2. I'm considering going to New Zealand and protesting them. I'll go with you. I will be going to New Zealand someday. Someday. I hate flying, but I'm going to do it. I mean, hey, if you need an excuse to go to New Zealand, that's a pretty good one. Wizards for $5. We're about at my 1-year Nerdrotic fan anniversary. Oh, right on. Thank you for helping me process the Game of Thrones dumpster fire. You are quite welcome. No, thank you for helping me. Because Game of Thrones I still love the books, but I was absolutely obsessed with Game of Thrones for years. The show and the books. Now, obviously, the books are much, much better, and I still read them. As a matter of fact, when I was on my little run today, I came up with the new Littlefinger theory, which I'm not going to bore you with here, but I might bore you with on the chill stream tomorrow night. So if you want to hear my new Littlefinger theory, and you still get new theories after all this time, but you're quite welcome. And yes, again, tomorrow is the anniversary of the Bells, which I think was Doomcock and I's best live stream. I think out of all of them, that was the best. And that was the most watched. Doomcock was particularly funny in that one. So please check out my friend Doomcock. Oh, sorry. I should have done this in the beginning. I have to do a little business here. So our notifications aren't going out for live streams, like at all. And I'm hearing this, even though like Friday Night Tights, we're getting tons of people, and thank you for being here, and it's great. But I'm getting email after email, and you guys are mentioning it in the chat that the notifications aren't going out. So if you could share them as much as possible, and with all of your favorite YouTubers, anytime they live stream, I don't know, I think it has a lot to do with the prioritizing of authoritative sources that YouTube is doing right now. So because they're on a skeleton crew to play it safe, and listen, most of our notifications don't go out anyway, but it's under a third right now. And usually it's a third. That's the math I got. And I watched a couple of quartering videos and he said pretty much the same thing. So I completely agree. So if you guys could, I'd appreciate it. I mean, if you find the time, it's okay. You don't have to. Chris Patterson for $5. I will take her. I'll take her. I will Dana Schwartz to Mount Woke to throw her back into the fire from whence she came. I will need a guide. Chris, I will be your Samwise Gamgee. I will be your Samwise Gamgee. Absolutely. One moment, please. Good. Okay. Christian Delorme. What's up, Christian? How are you? And hail in Canada. 10 Canadian pesos. Modern entertainment barely alive. Gentlemen and ladies, we can rebuild it. We got the technology. Less woke, faster, funnier, more entertaining. The $6 million woke. That's right. We can. It's going to turn around. It just depends on who with. But as far as the stuff we love, done. Toast. Marvel Comics isn't coming back. I think like DC could probably turn around. DC Comics could turn around. I think that's possible. I don't think Doctor Who is possible. Star Trek, if it gets sold in 5 or 10 years, sure. Star Wars, no. But what Rob said I mean, it's thrown at us as an insult, but what Rob Liefeld said at the end of my video, just live in the past. And right now there's plenty of past. I haven't read every comic. I'm going through a bunch of stuff I haven't read before. It's great. It's great to be reading comic books again. Straight white male for $2 Canadian. Thank you. Thoughts on Pennyworth or Krypton? Hated Krypton. Krypton was woke. Krypton had 105-pound models beating the crap out of 300-pound men. Did not see Pennyworth. So I'll be honest with you. I should give it a chance because I've heard good and bad. But I'm tired of peripheral Batman stuff. I want to see Batman. I want to see Batman in a TV show. I want to see Batman solving crimes. I want to see Batman. I want to see peak Batman with the Batmobile and Robin with Dick Grayson Robin and Batgirl on her motorcycle. And I want to see the full rogues gallery of villains. And I want them to base it on the animated series. And it would just make all the money. It would be the most popular show on the planet. It's such a no-brainer. But they want to screw around and make Pennyworth. And you know what? You could do a lower budget Batman. It's fine. I don't need to see epic fights. A noir Batman running around in the shadows. Hell yeah. Oh my God. Fool of a Schwartz, he growled. This is serious work, not an SJW limerick. Throw yourself in next time and you'll be... I gotta say it like Gandalf, sorry. Fool of a Schwartz, he growled. This is serious work, not an SJW limerick. Throw yourself in next time, and we will no longer need your further nuisance. That's not how he says it, though. Throw yourself in next time, and you will be no further of a nuisance. Oh, that's how he says it in the book. I was thinking of the lines. I'm sorry, but thank you. 13th Warrior for $5. Kevin, I'm just going to say Kevin. I'm going to try to say your last name slowly. That is a long last name. How many letters are in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 letters in that last name. But there's a couple of S's, there's a couple of N's. So Kevin Boysenellet for $5. SJW LOTR. Aragorn dies. Arwen takes over. Eowyn takes over Rohan. Galadriel offs Elrond. Yes. Yep. They're down with the patriarchy. RC Scott for $5. Long-time subscriber. First time on a live stream. I'm about to take my first and long overdue crack at writing a comic script. Wish me luck, sir. Good luck. Comic scripts, they're not that bad. It's not like writing a book. It's like writing a script. 28 pages, something like that. Good luck. We need more independent work, and the easiest place to do that is, and the most doable place to do it is comic books. It's economically feasible, and you can make a book that's as good, if not better, than what Marvel and DC does. The Comicsgate guys, some of them are doing books better than Marvel and DC books. I know there are critics out there say they aren't, but I'm not going to say every book, and it doesn't need to be, okay? If your book isn't better than Marvel or DC, don't take that as a knock. A lot of you guys out there, it's your first book. I understand. But some of them are better, flat out better. All right, let's laugh at Kickstarter a little bit, shall we? Zach did a video on this, your boy Zach, and this has something to do with the comic book industry as well. So there's Kickstarter. You guys have heard of Kickstarter, right? It was pretty big in the comic book industry for a long, long time. It was the standard of crowdfunding for a long, long time for comic books. It was supposed to help publishers, help a lot of self-publishers. And, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And it started out great. It was something I was behind. I remember hearing about it at the shop, and it became a big part of the comic book industry. But then it got infiltrated by SJWs. So much so that when your boy Zach went to put his book on Kickstarter, after he was, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the timeline was he wanted to put it in shops first. Mark Waid, in my opinion, obstructed that. So he went to Kickstarter. They denied him because they called him an istinophobe without reading the book, which was about basically a G.I. Joe superhero team protecting a giant gorilla. I know, terrible. Alt-right. It's an alt-right dog whistle. Giant gorillas are alt-right dog whistles. So this freaked out the company of Kickstarter so much that they hired a political commissar. I think that was actually her title. So she got laid off. And I don't mean to be happy about somebody getting laid off, but I want everybody at Kickstarter to think about this. She's part of 40% of people who got laid off. She might be solely responsible for everybody being laid off. She might be solely responsible. And I know a lot of people are trying to cover for her, but I don't know how much money she made. And hey, if they're going to give you that gig and you just sit in an office and gatekeep all day, and most people stopped going to Kickstarter, so it was probably a pretty useless job to begin with. But a company that exists to make money and pay people, having a gatekeeper there to keep people out for political bigotry, and listen, it depends on the state. I don't know what the legislation is for where Kickstarter is or state, but and I don't like too much legislation, honestly. I'm don't like a lot of laws. I don't like a lot of rules, but I think it definitely falls under the rules that are in place if you're politically bigoted, and that's clearly what this is. This was an organization who has a person designed to keep out right-wing individuals. They could be moderates. Hell, she probably kept out some moderate left-wing people. So, am I sorry they're gone? No. This is the universe unfolding as it should. Now, I don't want them to starve. I hope they go find a job, and I hope they learn a lesson that nothing is forever. The lesson here, and this is a lesson for Lord of the Rings and anybody else who wants to go woke, this is your destiny. This is the end game. This is where you're going to end up. Comics industry, this is where you're going to end up. Hollywood, you're not invincible. This is where you're going to end up. Any company that does this, this is where you're going to end up. The only organization that can get away with this is the BBC. Kickstarter Comic Outreach lead, it's Comic Outreach, Camilla Zhang has confirmed she is among the 40% of people who were laid off by the crowdfunding company this month. It breaks my heart to say this will be my last week at Kickstarter, Zhang announced on Twitter. Who announces that they're leaving a job on Twitter? Like LinkedIn? Okay. Sure. Twitter? I'm trying to think, when I rage quit Tesla, did I go, I'm very sorry to announce that I really didn't like the boss with the ponytail, so I quit. And I wanted to go YouTube. I don't remember doing that. May 8th marked my second year at the company, and only a day before I found out that I would be among the 40% of staff laid off. 40%! Now, for those of you who do not know, they recently unionized just a couple of months ago. So, yeah, true story. In her 2 years with the company, Zhang launched the Small Press Big Ideas initiative with SPX, launched the company's first ever comics anthology, organized free creator headshots at FlameCon, and was part of the comics category's gain of over 15 million in pledges from 2018 to 2019. A lot of good that, did you? Zhang said that the Kickstarter union, which she is a part of, helped negotiate a severance package. Well, it's a good thing you, I'm sorry, this is not funny. For her, those like her, including 4 months' pay and a year of recall rights, which gives me some hope that I may return to grow and serve the community I love so much. Serve the community. These people are talking like they're public servants because they're treating Kickstarter like it's PBS, because that's what they've turned the comic book industry into. They've turned it into the alternative press expo. The people who have taken over the comic book industry were all trained and reared at the Alternative Press Expo here in San Francisco. The fiefdom of Portland weirdos, as Kurt Metzger put it, which was coined by your boy Zach, all came from up here. And these are people who hate superhero books, hate the traditional comic book. And this is a group strongly backed by some retailers. You might know one. And that is what helped. And they're strongly backed by a lot of publishers to help farm out the problematic fans, the problematic creators, to make this utopian club community of comic books that's no longer an industry or a business. And here we are. So it turns out that most comic book fans don't like this stuff. I was going through the Beats top 75 most anticipated graphic novels, and I went over the whole list, and there's not one I would have read. It's a bunch of anthologies, as your boy Zach said, and it's Cal Arts art, and not stuff I'm into. This isn't the comic book industry, but it's certainly what's taken over. That's thanks to Scholastic. Speaking of which, let's go read a bullshit article at Bleeding Cool. That reminds me. So I wish her luck in the future. Stay the hell away from the comic book industry. And, well, Indiegogo's doing fine, aren't they? Ethan Van Sciver just passed 700,000. And that's just one book. I want to show you. Oh, and there she is. There's Camilla Zane getting laid off. I saw this article last night, and I thought it was pretty funny. It's concerning Gotham High. Oh, Gotham High, 43%. So, this was the biggest reach I could possibly think of, if I can find it. Bleeding Cool graphic novel sales up. Oh, is the article gone now? Jesus, hang on. I'll just look at it this way. Apologies. Yeah, now it's got Bleeding Cool, such a garbage site. All right, so they wrote an article last night about graphic novel sales being up 43% amidst the lockdown. And they tried to equate it to Gotham High. I'm looking for... Yeah, now it's completely gone. So what they did was they went to the graphic novel sales. There was just an article from Publishers Weekly that said graphic novel sales are up 43%. So in the Bleeding Cool article, they put graphic novel sales up 43%, including Gotham High. And I'm like, what? Do we have some sales numbers on Gotham High? So I went to the article, and it was just, no, graphic novel sales altogether are up 43%. There wasn't a mention of Gotham High, but they tried to... it was funny. But now, of course, I don't want to bother looking for older articles on here because this is a trash site. I'll try to look one more time. 43%. Let's see if that... Here we go. There it is. There it is. So graphic novel sales up 43% in bookstores during Diamond shutdown. Publishers Weekly reports that the number of print books sold in outlets that report to the NPD BookScan sale measuring system, that's a small, that's a finite number of bookstores, we'll just say. In the week ending April 25th was up 10.9%. And this isn't just down to bookstores being closed and now opening. Sales numbers were up 4.7 overall the last week. Naturally, with the thing that shall not be named, gripping our world, religious-themed work had the biggest sales gain, with a jump in 69%. But the graphic novel sector did pretty well too, with graphic novel sales jumping 43% on the previous week and a similar amount on the same week last year. So here's a big picture of Gotham High. And then they put right under it, graphic novel sales up 43% in bookstores during Diamond shutdown. Art from DC. Bookstores appear to have remained open more so than comic book stores, and in some territories have been labeled as essential services. Bookstores have also continued to receive graphic novels from their distributors when comic book stores largely have not. You hear that, Brian? Marvel, DC Comics, and other publishers have continued to provide bookstore market with new titles through the likes of Image Comics, although Image Comics has not, as it is exclusive with Diamond comic book distributors for house markets as well. But other bigger publishers such as Scholastic, which is the comic book industry right now, that and manga, have continued to sell graphic novels during this time. Might traffic from comic book stores have helped bump up bookstore numbers, you think? Especially for graphic, especially for original graphic novels like Gotham High or Lost Carnival, Dick Grayson. So if we go over here, not a mention of Gotham High. Not a mention of Gotham High, but nice try, Bleeding Fool. Now, Bleeding Fool's a good site, but you know what I mean. Screw Bleeding Cool. I would love to see what the Gotham High sales were. I'm very curious. As it stands right now, Snowflake and Safe Space are still coming out July 15th, and I will maintain, cancel that book. Don't put it in print. Don't saddle the shops with that garbage. And that will show all of us that you're serious about actually selling comic books. It doesn't mean you need to change your politics. It doesn't mean, but it'll show us that you are starting to believe in that dog whistle that's customer service. We'll see, though. We'll see. Where was I? Getting right back to you guys. Saving the rest of my cash for Cyberpunk 2077. Says Spartacus UK. Good for you. That looks like a pretty good game, I admit. And, well, Keanu's cool. Everybody, who doesn't like Keanu Reeves? Thank you for the £5. Yeah, save your money for that game. Let me know what you think of it. Korag Steelblood for £5. Hey, Gary, hope you're good, despite obvious problems these days. Lord of the Rings, of course. Super chat to say hello to you this time, not Az. Haha. Oh, it's all right. Thanks, man. We can say hi to Az as well. I don't think he sleeps. But I'll be on his channel tomorrow at 10, I believe. How often do you reboard a comic book? Well, huge anus for $2. Thank you for the multiple unicorns after that, too. That is a very good question. And the answer is it depends on what bag and board you are using. I use Mylights with acid-free boards, which means I don't ever have to do it. But even with those, I rebag and board every 5 to 7 years, and it's a massive project. If you use the polyurethane, the petroleum-based plastic bags that are cheaper, that most everybody uses with those backing boards, every couple years. If you let them sit in there too long, I've seen the backs of comics imprinted on backing boards more than once. Now, that takes years, but I would recommend every couple of years. That's why you want to go Mylite. It's a little more expensive up front, but it's less work and it looks nicer. The poly bags, they yellow up, and yeah. So and that smell, when you open the bag up, it's the gas being trapped in that bag from your comic book degrading, and it actually adds to it over time. So. Glinsner for $5. They won't banish Western canon. They'll bastardize it again. That's a good point. But that's part of the infiltration. I was talking about this on my members live stream. Had a great conversation with the members. Thank you very much. And it's not infiltration at this point. They're embedded. So the SJWs, the far left fundamentalists have embedded themselves into Kickstarter, and now it's falling apart. Comics is next. Comics is absolutely next. We're seeing things just fall down left and right now. And God, that's why that live stream last week was so frustrating. It's like, guys. I don't even want to use a Titanic analogy anymore. Like, your house isn't on fire. You're on fire. You are on fire right now. And they're like, everything's fine. It's just a little hot in here. It's okay. Everything's fine. Okay. Then we all have our answer when it comes to comic books. And I think Sean Gordon Murphy 2 days later, going on Indiegogo, which he was always planning on doing, which is a great move for him. I like him when he does Batman. I don't think I'm going to back this book. To be honest with you, it doesn't look that interesting to me, but if it looks interesting to you, cool. And he's going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then he's going to go, wow, why did I bend the knee to Tess Fowler? Hopefully he'll do that. Longtime subscriber. Oh, I read that one, but thank you, RC Scott, for $5. I appreciate that. Beer Me Too Brett for $5. If they destroy Lord of the Rings, I'll lose it. Wasn't alive for OG Star Wars in theaters, but was for the Lord of the Rings series. It holds a special place in my heart. Naughty Dog money. There you go. Beer Me Too, Brett. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for your support with all the other channels in this fight with Naughty Dog. Now, they haven't hit me. I'm fine. I'm just supporting my friends. But I've seen most of you out there supporting us, and we all appreciate it. So thank you very much. Lord of the Rings was the closest experience I had to that point to watching Star Wars. It was this. I walked out of there like that, blown away. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy, quite frankly, I had that experience too. That felt the most like Star Wars to me in a long time. But Lord of the Rings it can't be equaled. And then we got the better version on the Blu-ray and the DVD. Admin Grumpy Bear for $20. Thank you very much, Admin Grumpy Bear. Hollywood, for the love of Pete, tell me a good story. I'll pay to see it. I'm a smart dude. I don't need people who pretend for a living teaching me politics, sexuality, or economics. Entertain me. Simple. Right? We really don't need them teaching us economics or gender studies or sexuality or anything. They have no, even people like Adam Driver, who seemed like he was a real dude before he gets there, you get poisoned. It's a cult. It's a freaking cult. Heels versus Babyface. Thank you for the 99 cent. What's up, brother? How you doing? How you doing? I got my bags and boards ready. No. Well said, my friend. John Ellis Bush for $4.99. I do not want Henry Cavill to return as Superman. I do not want him tainted by Jar Jar. That's a good point. And Jar Jar's going to direct it. Now, Jar Jar doesn't direct it. And he's a producer in name only, but creatively has nothing to do with it. I'll get my hopes up, but we know that's not going to be the case. He's going to want to slap his name and be involved in everything. He wants to be Kevin Feige. Believe me, Jar Jar was the anointed one in Hollywood, and Kevin Feige stole that from him. So believe me, these guys are competitive. He's got $500 million in the bank, but he's competitive. I never denied Jar Jar's ambition. I don't think he has any talent. That's all. Kevin Feige has talent. He's being a dumbass right now. He's being a complete dumbass. Again, shelving Deadpool 3 guaranteed money for a freaking rated R movie because of stupid Disney's image. And a quote, I didn't put it in the video, that pretty much sums up what Disney's going to be doing is Bob Iger was trying to spin the $1.4 billion loss. And listen, it's understandable for some of it. But again, they're this giant, strong company. How could they have lost that much money? Why did they need to take a loan? Why did they lose their credit rating twice? I don't know. That sounds botched to me. That being said, Bob said that they were going to focus on family-friendly stuff. He thought that Disney would bounce back because people are going to want wholesome, family-friendly stuff. Has Disney been making that, though? I mean, are the Eternals going to be wholesome, family-friendly stuff? I don't know. John Ellis Bush, I can't argue with you. I wouldn't dream of it. You got a great point. Google announced work from home. They were lying. Some nobody, you would know. Some nobody, I believe, is in the know when it comes to YouTube and Google and their employees. I'll just say that. So thank you, some nobody. They did put up an article yesterday that Google would be working from home until 2021, but I bet you it's just some people, right? They said they'd be working from home till 2021. Too bad about Swamp Thing on CW. I'd have liked to see Crystal Reed replace AH in AM. I don't know what AM2 is. I would have liked to have seen a good Swamp Thing, like a rated R. I thought they would put it on HBO. Like, how could you not? That means they're yeah, that's too bad. You have HBO right there. It would be a perfect HBO show. You take out the SJW BS and you just adapt Alan Moore's work and you will have a hit. And what sucks is one of the guys behind it, or he was behind it, I'm not too sure he was anymore, was involved in Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3. Now, that wasn't the best season, but it was still better than most of the shit on CW. It's still going to suck. Jack's Smirking Revenge for £5. Beer Bug Entertainment List. Nerdrotic. Lord of the Rings. Fight Club. Red Dead Redemption. Original Star Wars. Raimi Spider-Man. 70s Funk. And a lot of alcohol. That's great. That is great. Drink responsibly. Okay, you know I'm here for you if it goes a little too far. And I wanted to tell Rob Liefeld. Where's my book? Oh, I can't find. Yeah. I want to tell Rob that, like, I'm here for him anytime. I'm ready. Rob Liefeld, I'm just a DM away, buddy. Same goes for the Critical Drinker, but I think most of you would murder me if I sobered him up. Any hope of the Terminator franchise terminated? Gabe Tricks for $1.99. I think it's done, terminated. I think it's toast. I did not watch Drinks and Mahler's live stream. Today I'm going to watch it later. I'm sure that was epic. But I think it's toast. But you never know. You never know. I love the Sarah Connor Chronicles. If they want to bring that show back with the same showrunner and don't fill it with identity politics and crap, sure, I'd support that. But they won't. Obi-Wan 27883 for $5. What's up, my friend? I want some Nightwing and Batman Beyond live action TV with old man Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton. Hell yeah. Right? There's so many sure things out there that they can make money on, but they're dicking around with the Batgirl movie. And thankfully they canceled the Supergirl movie. But another Harley Quinn movie. Like, no. That's possible. I'm sure we'll see something like Batman Beyond adapted for sure. And they'll use probably one of the old Batmans, whether it's Michael Keaton or Ben Affleck. That'd be cool too. You never know. Christian Bale. We'll see. Thank you again for playing my Cyberfrog theme. Oh, problem being, it was great. You're welcome. You did a great job. Great job on it. Thanks for pointing it out. My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. It's tough to get a hold of me, but I will shout out anybody. I mean, like if something's good, I'll shout it out. I'll shout out a comic book. I won't do it all the time. Especially if it's crowdfunding, it's once in a while. But if it's just a book that's out there, sure. If it's a creative work, a song, why not? The Shadowy Sage for $24.99. I will never understand why some white creatives feel like destroying the Western canon is penance for past sins. The West is for everyone. I'm black. My favorite movies are Gladiator and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And they are for everyone. It's the human condition. Listen, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to walk a mile in anybody else's shoes. I just think that the reason Lord of the Rings is popular isn't because it's made for just straight white men. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't be popular if it was just made for straight white men. There's not enough of them to support it. It has to have mass appeal. Everybody loves it, and the ladies like Aragorn. So there you go. And Legolas, of course, Orlando Bloom. And Karis for 50 Australian dollars. Thank you, Ankaris. Hail, Gary. I was a matte painter on the first 2 Lord of the Rings films. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, you did brilliant work. I bow to your brilliance. Well done. I left the VFX company before the 3rd film because of encroaching ID politics, backstabbing, and the beginning of cancel culture. That was way back in 2002. Well, you did great work. I'm sorry you had to leave. And hey, at least you got to work on 2 of the greatest films of all time. So that's an accomplishment right there. No, that stuff has been around since, honestly, it started in the 90s with the whole politically correct movement in the 90s. And it was encroaching when I bought my comic shop. I've told the story before. I first noticed it in a Greg Rucka Wonder Woman comic from 2004. And then he wrote a Wolverine comic the year later that my buddy Derek Robertson drew. And I noticed it where Wolverine was complaining about guns. So it was happening earlier. It reached a peak in 2017, and then it reared its ugly head again this year. Like it is just as bad now as it was in 2017 when Zach was rolling and there was, Comicsgate was, it was blowing up at first in the early days. And yeah, it seems like we're revisiting that for some reason. Well, I know why. It's the last gasp. Christina Nardone for $5. Did anyone hear about the SNK bending the knee to SJWs over a tweet on Twitter? Get woke, go broke. SNK, what's SNK? Hang on. I'm gonna figure this out in a second. I'm gonna look it up, but if somebody in the chat can tell me what SNK is. Oh, okay. It's a Japanese game corporation. So SNK Corporation is a Japanese video game hardware and software company. All right. So they bent the knee. Why? Because of American investors? Why would... Oh my God, no, that is bad news. I was kind of hoping like the Japanese culture would save us from all that shit. That is bad news. I'm sorry to hear that. Christopher Arcella for $5. You hear about Donnie Cates subscribing to EVS's channel, though it's an old YouTube account? I did. I heard the live stream. I was laughing. Yeah. So we can see who subscribes to the channel if you don't hide your subscription. So, I mean, I hide mine because I don't want them cluttering up my channel, but I don't mind everybody knowing who I subscribe to. But a lot of people, you can keep your subscribers anonymous, but if you don't, then we get a little email that said, so-and-so just subscribed to your channel. And yeah, if Donnie Cates' name comes across Ethan's email, I'm betting he's going to notice it. It's just a guess. Donnie, buddy, stick to writing. And yes, I heard about the videos. There's bathtub criminals. I don't know what that's about, but he was in a bathtub with another dude, and it was bathtub criminals. But at least it wasn't smooth criminals. It was bathtub criminals. But hey, I'm not judging. You know, you do what you do. You do you. But yeah, Donnie, stick to writing. Stick to writing. You know, YouTube is not for everyone. Hey, I'm not going to go write a comic book. So, you know. Heel versus Babyface sends a phallic unicorn for 99 cents. And I know what you meant. I know Az is brokenhearted right now. He's been telling me behind the scenes, you know, it's been the tears of a clown. He's been on a roll with his channel. He's been funny as hell. But honestly, inside, he's been crying this whole time because Dana blocked him. She's heartless. She's heartless. She did not know that Az's love was real. It was real, I tell you. Tall, dark, and gruesome for $1.49 sends a phallic unicorn. It's all right. I'm here for you, buddy. I'm here. Not in that way, but for, you know, to talk. Don't get the wrong idea. Jeffrey Riley for $5. SJWs are like serial killers. I feel sorry for the pain in your life, but I have to try to stop you from killing, ruining pop culture again. Again and again and again. And they're ruining platforms now. Their own platform. Kickstarter was their domain. They had kicked everybody out. And, oh yeah, it fell apart. And Indiegogo's doing great. That's so funny. And they got Sean Gordon Murphy. Now, I know, I'm sure some of the independent creatives out there, listen, anybody going to Indiegogo is going to help. Yes, the competition is now going to go up, and there's going to be a lot of people who in this new independent sphere who are going to be pissed that the pros are going to be coming to what they see as their domain. I can't argue with you for thinking like that. I think it can only help. Personally, it's going to be tougher to compete. They're going to steal up some of that attention. And that's where you just got to grind. You got to grind and fight harder. You don't give up, just grind. And yeah, it's going to get tougher. It was nice to have Indiegogo all to yourselves for a little while, but I think that's changing very soon. And it's just going to take more work and yeah. But I mean, you have nowhere to go. Hopefully what I'm worried about, and I know that's what you're worried about, is Indiegogo gets infiltrated because they're going to try. They are absolutely going to try. I don't know if they'll succeed. I hope not, but they will try. Disney artificially tanking financials to seek buyout. Some nobody for $2. Huh. We did hear about some financial skullduggery last year. They were cooking the books, and that was under Bob Chapek. That was according to an article. That's not me, Disney. So would a company artificially, we'll say, manipulate their numbers to seek a buyout? Is that possible? That's the question I'm going to ask. Is that possible? Has any company done that before? Well, sure. I don't know if Disney would do it, though. I don't know. But I'm not denying some nobody. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Bob Iger's family friendly. Both dads will enjoy it, says Route 69 for Australian $2. That's funny. Sent you the magnet today. Hope you like it. Tesseract, thank you. Oh, I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much. I got to show you guys something. If I'm pretty sure, I want to see if Drunk put this out here. Shout out to Drunk 3PO. He's a savage on Twitter, but he's a good guy. And here, I'll show it to you later. I was wondering if he tweeted about it, but he didn't. So if he didn't tweet about it, I can't show a personal message. So he got some cookies and a t-shirt. Mrs. Nerdrotic had these special cookies made for New York Comic Con. Mikey Woods, you'll remember the cookies. I see you in the chat. You remember the Nerdrotic cookies. They were good. And they're my logo. They look like this. Yeah, they do. Back to you guys. USS Cushing for $4.99. Hail, Gary, have you played Terminator Resistance? It's pretty decent. I have not. The last Terminator game I played was the best pinball machine ever made which was the Terminator 2 pinball machine. That was in the 80s. That thing was brilliant. If I could have one today and fit it in my house and afford it, I would, but I can't, so I won't. I've been terrified of Tolkien's legacy being ruined since Christopher died. Christopher Tolkien, by the way, recently died. Nobody can protect it anymore, and it's not fans that have the money to buy it. The opinionated one for $5, no, and now we have heirs in control of it, and we know as each generation passes, they give less shits. And they're going to get mesmerized by all that Jeff Bezos cheddar. I mean, who could blame them? But they would make just as much and be adored if they protect it. I think the best thing to do with the Lord of the Rings right now is to leave it alone. Just leave it alone. It's perfect as it is. Generations have been picking up this book for decades. They're going to continue to do so, and you risk that not happening anymore. I'm already seeing tangential signs of the failure of Star Wars. So I'm a collector, and one of the things I do in my downtime is I go on eBay looking for bargains. I fill up my basket, and then I end up not buying anything. But I fill up my basket, and I just kind of get a lay of the land. Right now, there's a lot of bargains to be had with Doctor Who. Oh, yeah, a lot of action figures. Their prices are going down. And I've noticed there's a lot of bargains to be had with Star Wars. I've noticed a lot of the EU novels being sold in bulk for nothing. I'm noticing a lot of the Dark Horse comics being sold in bulk for next to nothing. I'm seeing a lot of the Marvel Star Wars comics starting to be sold in bulk for next to nothing. I would be half tempted to buy a full run of the Marvel Star Wars from the 70s, but I don't even want to buy anything secondhand. But I'm seeing a lot of stuff being sold for nothing right now. Now, honestly, people are locked down. Some people probably need some money, but there's still value to stuff. I haven't seen the value, the bottom fall out of any comics, but Star Wars looks like it's tumbling quite a bit just in the secondary collector market. That's an indicator. That's what you call an indicator. Scott Rainford for £5. How does the 12-step work for atheists? Also, thoughts on Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind with Dr. Stephen Greer. And I'll take you up on the New Zealand protest. Right on. Cool, Scott. Right on. Dr. Stephen Greer went guru on us. So I'm into UFOs. I thought he was a great investigator, but when people start getting into the guru stage, they lose me. David Wilcock did that. Stephen Greer did that. But I still I watched it and I thought it was entertaining. Now, as far as real quick, good question. 12-step program works just fine for atheists. I am an agnostic. And when I got into the program, I was an atheist and it worked for me. Took me a while, but it works for me. God is not required. Higher power is, God is not. That's all. And you could pick your higher power. It can be a symbol. Okay. But it needs to be a powerful one. And, email me. I can tell you what I did. Good question. Hurwitz, character will die in season 3 of Cobra Kai. Really? I don't know. Hurwitz, a character will die in season 3 of Cobra Kai. I could see that happening. Robert Atkinson for $2. Cobra Kai season 1, brilliant. Cobra Kai season 2, some of that stuff was starting to creep in a little bit. But I still believe in it. It's a solid show. I highly recommend both seasons. It's fun. Lord of the Rings and Hobbit 4K box set. Oh, no, really? Detrius, are you serious? But how's the transfer? Is it really going to be worth it? Now, for the Hobbit, it will be. But yeah, June 25th, 2020, Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit 4K box set. Take my money. Detritus, thank you very much for the $2. I appreciate that. That is good news. It's a little over a month away. John Ellis Bush for $9.99. Oh, by the way, that means we're a little under a month away from The Last of Us 2 coming out. So as Sony keeps Oh, really? No. Is that for real? I thought it was June. It's May 29th. Okay, so we are very close to a couple weeks away from The Last of Us 2 coming out, and boy, did they F up. That news would have been gone by now. Gone. But now we got a couple of weeks. That's going to be about like 75 more Jeremy videos. I'm just kidding, Jeremy. I know it's going to be 60, not 75. I see it now, Gary. Super Simp by JJ Beta, Bat Beta by Matt Reeves, and Wonder Abbey by Kurtzman. Social Justice League of Ruin Johnson. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. Thank you for the $9.99, and indeed, that could be coming. That could be a real thing. Thank you both for the super chat. Problem being, for $1.99, I want a live action Ulysses 31, A Space Odyssey. And you deserve it. Problem being, you deserve it. But do we want anything right now? I don't want anything. Like I said, Lord of the Rings, I want it to be great, but if it doesn't get made, I'll be happier. I'm surprised The Expanse didn't get tainted. I love that show, and I was fully expecting it to get tainted. Guess what? I was a big fan of Mr. Robot. Completely got screwed and woke at the end. At the end. Any chance Eternals ends up decent? It's odd that the only promotion has been LGBTQ stuff and nothing about the source material. Big Viz $4.97 for $5. That's the giant red flag for me. The only thing we've heard, a movie that has Robb Stark and Jon Snow, the only thing we've heard is a kiss. And the director has no experience, and it was filmed in a warehouse. And if you saw my video, they don't look anything like the original characters, and it doesn't look like they're even paying homage to Kirby, which is ridiculous. At least Taika Waititi gave us a bunch of Kirby in Thor Ragnarok. If you like the movie or not, at least aesthetically, there was a ton of Kirby in there. They even did the Kirby crackle. The Last of Us 2, careful what you say. R. Fletch for $2. Careful what I say, that it's... So would it be bad if I said it's dog shit? Would it be bad if I said the leaks were awful and that scene with Abby with the golf club beating a certain character to death is bad and it's horrible and the fan reaction has been terrible and they have been faking reviews to try to counteract what they've done? And quite frankly, I wouldn't have said anything about this stupid game. I could care less about it. I didn't know what the acronym for it was, and I don't care. But when you start striking down some of my friends, especially, friends I co-host a show with and who I know personally, like in real life now, yeah, I tend to back them up because they're going to back me up if it happens to me. It's what we do here. We're even backing up YouTubers who have made videos about us being very, very critical. And we'll still back that person up because you know what? We're coworkers here. And this platform, we all know that one day it will be taken away somehow, some way. State of California, one of us screwing up, YouTube shutting down, Google shutting us down. Someday it's going to be over. Okay. Nothing lasts forever. Which is too bad because this is the second biggest platform in the world. And this should be the Mac Daddy swinging around its metaphorical unit all around, and advertisers should be bending the knee to us, FCNN, MSNBC. We're the thing that makes this thing go. We're the reason the people come here. And they don't want to be that. They want to be Netflix. They're ashamed by what they are, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing. I'm not saying that, honestly, if they just left us alone, I'd be happy. The lack of communication is one thing, but allowing the system to be manipulated by your competition or another company and just letting them get away with it with no repercussion at all. What else can we do? We have to complain. If we don't say anything, nothing will change. Chances of things changing are pretty slim, but it's nil if you don't say anything. So that's why we back them up. And it ends up being this big explosion, and it will affect their game now. Absolutely will affect their game. They will not sell as many games as they would have before. I will even bring the leaks into this argument. Yes, those golfing leaks, those Naughty Dog golfing leaks, even if they were released and they didn't do anything, it would be over and they would have probably been fine. They'd have lost a few sales here and there, but now they've got some guaranteed lost sales and it's creeping into other works. It's creeping into other games. Hell, people might take it as far as the movies. I've already had a bunch of people saying, I'm not going to buy a PS5. Hey, that's 10 less PS5s they were going to sell. I don't think any company is okay. There's no acceptable losses when you're trying to sell shit. And it could have been completely avoided if you had just shut up. You're not going to win this battle. Ever, Sony. Hey, Gary. Hello from Brazil. Love your content. Thank you. Play mail. And greetings in Brazil. Got to get down there someday, too. You could almost drive there, but not quite. It'd be a long drive. Dangerous drive. Driving in Mexico is crazy. But yes, thank you. For 2 Brazilian pesos, we'll say. Diego Flores for 10 Chilean pesos. I have a cousin who has a serious alcohol problem. At the first chance he gets to drink, sorry, it jumped on me. He drinks. His mom is the source of said demons and inadequacy. How should I approach him to do the 12 steps? He's got to find it on his own, Diego. You can talk to him about it. Certainly bring it up. See how he feels about it. But he has got to hit his bottom. And he's not going to hit his bottom until he stops blaming. I mean, I can't be Dr. Phil here. But he can't blame his mother. She might be the source. But the source is his demons. It's his stuff. So whatever his mother did, he's got to deal with it. But he's got to take some responsibility too. And mend fences. And he's just got to hit a bottom. You can't force anybody in, but you can certainly introduce it if you get, make sure he's not drunk at the time. But it depends on how close you are. If you want him to live, at least talk to him about it. 12 steps, not a cult. It's not for everybody. But it's not a cult. That gets talked about a lot, but it's, no. But it's tricky. It is. Try to get him to a meeting. 200-watt studio for $5. Hilarious that Jar Jar's Superman script ends up on a cliffhanger. LOL, I know, right? I had no doubt he will probably be gone before the next one. No, Jar Jar will never finish anything ever again. He tried it once and he failed miserably. The dude is maybe he's a decent motivator. He can start ideas fine, but the dude can't finish. There's a joke there that I'll leave alone. I'll just leave alone because I've said it before. It jumped on me a little, but Diego, I mean, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sorry to hear that about your brother. But with that, you can't force anybody in. They got to get there on their own. And sometimes people don't make it. I hope your brother does, though. I hope your brother does. Thank you, 200-watt studio. R. Fletch for $2. Yeah. Hell yeah. F Naughty Dog. Winter Toker for $10. Lost my sister recently, and I'm watching your videos and streams are one of the only things that have made me smile the last few months. Just wanted to say thanks for all the great content and keep it up. Oh, my condolences, Winter Toker. If I could help in any way, shape, or form, it is an honor. I'm sorry to hear that. And oh God. Hopefully I can make you laugh a little bit. It's easy because Hollywood is dumb, but I'm very, very sorry about your sister. And thank you for the kind words and opening up there. I really appreciate it, Winter Toker. Oh yeah. I remember, when I lost my dad, it was a radio show that got me through it. So it was like sports. I just got into sports radio and Art Bell. And it helps a lot. It helps a lot to have company. That's why these live streams are important for me and for you. because we need human contact. This isolating thing is going to be very bad for us long term. So it's good that we're having some form of contact here. Game won't sell? Yeah, again, it's going to sell, R. Fletch. I just don't think it will sell as much. I've never said it wouldn't sell. But there's plenty of normies out there who aren't aware of what's going on who will buy it. And then there's people who don't like us who will buy it and probably never play it. But I don't think it will sell as much. Beer Me to Brett for $5. Kickstarter, don't hire communists like your boy Zach said. Did you see original Star Wars in theaters? Canceled Last of Us 2 collector's copy. Got Naughty Dog money for days. Nice. All right, got his money back from Naughty Dog. Fuck Naughty Dog. Good for you. Yes, I saw all the originals in the theaters on the day they opened, except for Star Wars that wasn't opening day. It was like a week after. We tried. There was separate seating, and my parents went in and saw it without me and sent me to the babysitter, and I had a freaking meltdown. I was 7. I felt betrayed. I wouldn't talk to my dad for a couple days. It was bad. Does Disney have competition? Asked Peter Schilling for $1.99. Yes, Warner Brothers. Unfortunately, and God, I wanted to root for Warner Brothers. I would have been like pro Warner Brothers. I'd have been pro DC over Marvel for the first time in my life. And then Jar Jar Abrams shows up. Like anybody but him. Like, why can't you get Matthew Vaughn? I know he's doing the Mark Millar stuff at Netflix. I haven't heard anything about that lately. Has anybody heard anything? I know Mark Millar signed this exclusive deal with Netflix, and we were going to see like Kingsman stuff and some other of his books, like the Chrononauts, possibly adapted. And I haven't heard a thing. Elgardo Martinez for 4,000 pesos for a Colombian coffee, waiting for better times. I will use it towards that, and I tip my future coffee to you to better times. Star Wars guy, 1997, $5. What's this all about the PC Lord of the Rings? Is there an article that came out about it or being officially destroyed by identity politics? No, we are musing at this time because that's a good question. Star Wars guy, 1997. And that's basically what my video is going to be about, because if you've come to any of my live streams for any amount of time, you know I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. We're also fighting this little culture war here. And the question I get asked pretty much the most is, are they coming for Lord of the Rings? When are they coming for Lord of the Rings? Or are there any franchises left? Have they destroyed everything? And the answer is no, there's still Lord of the Rings. Are they coming for it? Yes. The answer is definitive yes. Absolutely yes. Will they get away with it? I don't know. I'll give you an example. It's already been done. The Hobbit. So in 2015, 2016, a lot of this stuff was happening and we weren't noticing it. I wasn't noticing it. Maybe some of you were. Okay. But in The Hobbit, Legolas, his whole existence is to get cocked in that movie. Like, he doesn't need to be in the movie. He's not in the story, and he gets cucked by a dwarf. And there's a bad dad. Okay. And, so I still enjoy The Hobbit, but I don't enjoy the Legolas stuff. It pisses me off. But I enjoy The Hobbit mostly. But no, it's already been done. And the funny thing is, Lord of the Rings was written by women, 2 very talented women who I wish were writing the show right now. Philippa Boyens is amazing. She's great. One of the best moments of my comic shop, guys, was when Peter Jackson and Philippa Boyens came in and bought my entire set of Y the Last Man. And I didn't recognize Peter Jackson because he just lost a bunch of weight. So I thought he was like some British rock star. I'm like, that guy looks like a British rock star. And my manager goes, that's Peter Jackson. I'm like, shut up. And I was putting up this Mini-Mates diorama. Yes, I was very busy putting up a Mini-Mates diorama. His kid will finish a box of Kleenex before JJ does a story. 200 Watt Studio for $5. That was funny. That was funny. Modalicious, I heard if you can't finish, you should see a doctor. I heard if it lasts for longer than 4 hours, you should see a doctor. Rob Killam for $2 took your recommendation on The Killing Joke. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. That's easy. That is a slam dunk. There is nobody who will not like that story. The art is perfect, and it's a perfect comic book. I mean, okay, what makes no sense, folks, and this is why this is the biggest mistake. Well, I don't know. It's a trade-off. So, Marvel continuity is supposedly unbroken, and DC is. There is no way The Killing Joke shouldn't be worth a ton of money. It's a seminal book. It is a key book. But it's, you can get a first print for pretty cheap. I mean, it's not super cheap, but it should be worth more. But I like it now because I'm buying a ton of DC back issues that I couldn't, I was a Marvel guy. So there's a bunch of 70s back issues I haven't read, and they're dirt cheap. It's great. Oh my God. It's like discovering a whole new world. It'll only sell to some, like a participation trophy, says R. Fletch for $5. Maybe. Yeah, I can't call it. I don't know enough about gaming. What do you guys think? Tell me in the chat. Do you think it'll be like Battlefield 5? I looked at the numbers for Battlefield 5, and that was significantly down. So I don't know. I know everybody was looking forward to it. I know it's a game I heard of, and I knew about the plot just from osmosis, people talking about it on live streams. So that's my knowledge, and that's all I care about it. But, and remember, if I ever talk about it, it's in context of other YouTubers being struck down by this company and them violating or manipulating the copyright system here on this platform. And I know the leaks. I've watched the video. It looks horrendous. But I'll be really honest with you. It's not a game I would play anyway. I'm not into post-apocalyptic zombie stuff. I'm just not. Red Dead Redemption, that's a good game. Cyberpunk, that piques my interest. It does. And Witcher 3, of course. I worked on Lord of the Rings, and you saw Peter Jackson more than I did, says Ankaris for Australian $5. Oh, really? Yeah, I imagine he was busy. Hey, that was lightning in a bottle. The only reason the Lord of the Rings was the reason it was successful, it had a company that believed in it. They gave them 3 movies. They had a core group of actors who all liked each other. They went down and filmed all at once for 15 months. So they didn't take any breaks. They filmed it back to back, and that's the reason it works. It's cohesive. If they had taken a break and gone away for a couple of years and come back, there'd be a noticeable difference between all the movies. And that was the best way to adapt it. And he got lucky. He tells the story. They were shooting for 2, and they were getting shot down. And they got, when New Line looked at it, they're like, I don't know. This looks like 3 movies. You shouldn't be doing 2. And like Peter Jackson just went, what? It was music to his ears. So it was a cool story. And man, that sucks, Incaris. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's bad enough with corporate politics. I mean, forget the identity politics. Corporate politics suck. But you mix in a little identity politics, and believe me, they were there for Tesla too. I'm old school, okay, when it comes to my old job. So my parts job, I'm a blue collar, old school guy. I grew up, I was young. I grew up around like mechanics. All right. So we were crass. We were cussing. When we got in a fight, we would yell at each other. Sometimes we'd go scrap in the back and to deal stuff. If you got to deal with something at work, we went back and scrapped and it was dealt with. That's old school. You can't do that anymore. You can't even get mad at anybody. You can't even glare at anybody anymore. Even if somebody's being a complete dumbass, you just got to go, okay. Or they will whine. I mean, we're in a snitch culture now. So they'll go whine to the boss and stuff. And yeah, it's just, it wasn't, not that I was ragey at work, but like when people, there was, like I said, I'm old school. When it comes to auto parts, I'm old school. So I'm a little tough. I'm a little tough to work with. And it's good that I'm gone. The Hobbit movie should be de-aged. Orlando Bloom, The Hobbit movie should have de-aged Orlando Bloom Legolas to make him look younger because it takes place 60 years earlier, right? And he looks so much older. So much older. The soundtrack is great. And they shouldn't have split up Smog attacking Lake Town. That was dumb. Yeah. Those bungholes ruined The Witcher on Netflix. I liked Henry Cavill, but everything else was garbage. Love the books, love the games more. Big sad. Says Father Mazgos for $5. I like the show, but I'm betting I'm going to like the game more because I watched a bunch of the game videos and they're great. I've read the comics. They're good. They're good. There's an omnibus with Mike Mignola cover. If I could find the original art for that. Ooh, I'm a huge Mike Mignola fan. Mike Mignola is one of the great people in comics. One of the great minds in comics. One of the great artists. And he doesn't participate in that customer hate bullshit. So he's one of the good professionals. Hail Mike Mignola. I was born the exact same day Star Wars came out, so I denied my parents a trip. Clint, it's all your fault. It's all your fault, Clint Matthews. Do you think the new Foundation series will be woke? Winter Toker for $4.20. Anything could be woke. If it's being made now, there's a possibility it'll be woke. It's not a bad question to ask. You're not out of your mind. People would remember, like it wasn't long ago when you go, is this going to be woke? People go, how dare you? How dare you say woke? What's woke? Now it's like, yeah, it's probably going to be woke. It's probably going to be woke. I think I missed a couple, so I'm going to go up and check. All right. Give me a moment, and then we're going to go over a couple other things. Yeah, I want to talk about Sean Gordon Murphy. I want to talk about the purity test that he didn't pass from one Mags Visaggio, who I will lovingly call Vags Misogyny. So, okay. Christopher Arcello for $10. I missed this one. Sorry. I'm still unclear on it. Is the Fandom Menace still doing the meetup at Star Wars Celebration, or is that canceled? I'd like to know ahead of time so I can arrange to meet you. I owe you a visit. We owe you a visit, Christopher. Star Wars Celebration is canceled, correct? Pretty sure it's canceled. I'm double checking. I thought I heard it. I mean, I didn't see anything official. Oh, have they canceled it yet? I guess they haven't. That's crazy. If Star Wars Celebration happens, then there will be a Fandom Menace meetup because I'll be down there. I can't speak for any other members, but my plan was, I got to talk to Jeremy, but my plan was to rent out a place where we could meet up. Now, it depends on the situation. Will we have to meet up with social distancing and masks? And, we want to be safe. We want to, I don't want anybody to not feel safe. How's that sound? I'm not worried. I'm personally not worried. I'm going to go outside. Because chances are I'll get it anyway, or my kid will get it. I mean, but we don't talk about that here. But yes, I would like it to still happen, very much so, because I would like to do the thank you to you guys. And the plan was to rent out like a bar or something and get a taco truck, feed you guys, and hang out, and then do a live stream. Maybe get a stage, get a PA, and do a live stream, and have you guys come up, and each of you can come on, do stuff like that. Just your basic meetup. We did one in Vegas, and it was great. But this time I'd like to rent the place out for us, and it will be free. Just get your butt there, and we'll take care of the rest. We'll, at the very least, feed you, give you drink. No booze, but regular drink, of course, and some swag and stuff like that. And, We'll figure something out. If not, then next year. And I know Ethan's doing the con next year too. But for Star Wars Celebration, if it's this year, next year, I would most definitely like to do kind of a thank you to you guys. Wanted to thank Mrs. Nerdrotic for the effort in getting me the Insta swag. Ryan Rotten for $9.99. You are most welcome. I will pass that on to my stunning and brave, powerful, empowered female lead, Mrs. Nerdrotic. Crystal Meth for $5 Canadian. A simple contribution from a fan. Stay safe, brother. You too. You too. It took me a minute to figure out what that is, but that was it. Thank you. Larry needs jets for a holy carb illustrated LOTR available. Needs jets for a holy carb illustrated LOTR available. I don't even know what that is. Need jets. Or for Holly. Carb illustrated LOTR available. I don't know, Larry. Tell me what the hell you're talking about in the chat, please. Don't put another super chat though. Just tell me what you're talking about. The Foundation was woke before it was a thing when Asimov wrote it. Says Josh Crush for $4.99. Probably. Kind of like in the way Dune was woke before. Yeah, probably. I know it depends on woke. All right. There's a hippie wrote it and there's woke. I see there's a distinction there. My woke is, for me, it's identity politics. Identity politics. But yeah. SGM is like John Wick. Excommunicado from the organization. Ah, yes. Excommunicado. Well, isn't that all of us? Excommunicado, ostracized, outsiders, wrong thinkers, deplorables. Yeah, I think that's us. Right back where we were in high school, which is great. I prefer it. I don't need to be accepted by anybody in the access media or anybody at Hollywood. Who gives who those nutbags? Riri Williams' superpower is literal virtue signaling. She wouldn't even let her teacher empower her and insisted on being a victim instead. I remember that, Darth Gorbag for $7.77. Thank you. That's right. God, that was terrible. Oh. Did you read the Wikipedia on her though? Because essentially the biggest criticism, according to Wikipedia, of Riri Williams is a white guy was writing it. I didn't even know it was based on his daughter. Hippie woke versus death woke. Yeah, it's something like that. R. Fletch. I mean, hippie woke is tolerable, but I am Generation X, so I'm not like, I don't know. I like hippie music, but the movement, my whole generation was about fighting back against that movement. And then most of them turned into a bunch of hippies. So big disappointment. But there are good hippies out there. There are. Like George Carlin was a good hippie. Will there be a Fandom Menace ball pit? 200-watt studio for $2? No. But there'll be a Fandom Menace ball sack. Okay, there will. A Fandom Menace ball. That's... you know what? That would be probably the worst thing to have during lockdown. Like you unlock down everyone and then you go to McDonald's and you put your kid in the ball pit. That's probably not the best idea. I'm thinking it's not advisable. And it's just for grandma. The kid will be fine. The kid will get sick and then pass it to grandma and then you got to worry about grandma. By the way, I got to stop everything now because not quitting the show, but not yet. Our good friend, Bird of Prey 5. Bird of Prey 5. He's a YouTuber. He's been in a bed for over 10 years now. He's bedridden due to an injury, I believe. An injury. So he needs assistance in everything he does, and he's a live streamer. He's a friend of Annie Trekkers, and you've seen him here in the chat. He's a friend of yours. He's in a bit of a pickle right now, because of his condition. He got, we'll just say he got sick and he had to go to the emergency room, and it's very dangerous for him to go to the emergency room because of his condition. He can't move on his own. He can't move freely. His mom's there with him, but I want to just send thoughts and prayers to Bird of Prey 5. We're thinking about you. F in the chat for Bird of Prey 5. Cause this is like a really dangerous time and we're thinking about you. And, I know he put a video up this morning and Mrs. Nerdrotic and I saw it. So we're just sending him all the well wishes possible. He's a good friend of ours. He's a good member of the Fandom Menace, and we love Bird of Prey 5. So quick recovery and get the hell out of that emergency room as soon as you can, buddy. Cause he's worried, of course, that the obvious. So, yeah, so a little worried about Bird of Prey 5. I should have said that sooner, but, sorry. Hey, Gary, wanted to ask you about your opinion on, oh, hell, look at all those Fs. You guys are fucking brilliant. Thank you. Hail. That's all for you, Bird of Prey. Hopefully he's out there watching. I don't know if he can watch on his phone. I don't know if he's awake right now, but hopefully he watches this later. And send him some love on Twitter if you can. Thank you very much again. Hey, Gary, wanted to ask you about your opinion on Y the Last Man. I asked in the Inquisition last night, but Doomcock didn't get around to it till you left. You guys are the best. Thank you. Justin Sane 11 for $9.99. Y the Last Man was something I enjoyed when it came out, and if I read it now, it would piss me off because it was the beginning of this. On its own, in isolation, it had a really good start and a not so good ending. But at the time, I liked it. I was recommending it to everybody, and I sold it to everybody. But let me put it this way: it was fine in its time. But if they try to adapt it now into a TV show, and somebody didn't read the source material, people would be just on, this is the wokest shit of the woke of the woke. Now, if you don't know what Y the Last Man is about, it's about literally the last man in the world, and it's all women. So, but Brian K. Vaughan is good. He's good. So, but it's not something I'd reread. Again, I equate it to Star Trek 2009. It's fine at the time, but you didn't know what it was. It was a place setting. It was setting up stuff that just got out of control, which is too bad because then it hurts the message and it does damage a book like Y the Last Man. Look at The Boys. The Boys, I love that story. I'm in the comic book. My friend co-created it, but it is an uber deconstruction of the superhero, and it's a mean deconstruction. It's not like The Tick. That's a parody. It's mean because Garth Ennis hates superheroes. And while I still like the book, I don't know how well it's going to play now when people are just, especially after March 16th, people want hope. People want inspiration. People want something they can root for, something that's fun. Now, The Boys is funny, but it's not fun. It's not fun. It's still good, but we need to reconstruct now. I don't know if that's possible. It might be Pollyanna to even think of that. Have you been keeping up with The Last of Us 2 news? Nostalgitarian for $2. A little bit. Now, I don't know what's going on with Angry Joe. I saw the response with Angry Joe. Did they get to him? Did he kind of shill? I don't know. I know they're putting up fake reviews to counteract what they're doing to my friends. I know Lethal Lightning's live stream got taken down yesterday. If there's anything else, please email me. Let me know. I am planning to do a signal boost video in the next 24 hours just to annoy Naughty Dog. And I'm going to kind of push it to the limit. But I don't think any strikes have been lifted from Jeremy yet. Az still has, you out there, do you still have, you don't have strikes against you, but you have claims, right? Lethal Lightning still has, or no, he had a strike removed, I believe. Ryan, my internet son Ryan, still has 2 strikes against him. So yeah, he's on the brink of death, channel death. But if I missed anything, please let me know. Please let me know. I was doing my Lord of the Rings research, and then the Deadpool thing popped up, and I had to do a video on that because that's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. Let's be real. It's not going to happen. Deadpool 3 is not going to happen. Let that sink in. We're going to get Ironheart. We're going to get She-Hulk. And we're not going to get fracking Deadpool 3. Now, Deadpool 2 was okay. I hated the kid in it. I liked everything else. I liked the Juggernaut. I actually liked Zazie Beetz. I thought I'd hate her as Domino, and I actually liked her as Domino. But Deadpool 1 is like freaking perfect movie. And I don't even like the character in the comics. I don't. I like the Kelly Jones McGinnis Deadpool. That was it. I think it's a joke that gets played too long, and I think it's very two-dimensional. I think Deadpool is just two-dimensional. But it's perfect for a couple movies or 3 movies. And Disney, I said it in the Inquisition, the entire film industry needs sure things. You know what? You need Sam Raimi directing a Doctor Strange. Hell, you need Sam Raimi directing Spider-Man. And as a matter of fact, I would get Sam Raimi to direct every superhero movie, especially Superman. If DC has a brain, hire Sam Raimi to direct Henry Cavill in Superman tomorrow, and you'll make $1 billion. You need sure things. You can't F around. No snowflakes or safe space. You need a sure thing. Deadpool 3 is a sure thing. I don't know how good it'll be. It won't be as good as the first, but it will guarantee you a bunch of money on the first week, and it will send a message that you'll be willing to make a hard R Deadpool, which Bob Iger gave us some lip service that they were going to do that. But now we have the creator of Deadpool saying it's not happening. So you know what? You can't shoot that one down. Because I'm not going to say he's in the know with Disney, but he's in the know. He gets residuals. So, yeah. And Ryan Reynolds isn't going to wait. He's not going to wait forever. And he's not going to do some crap PG-13 movie. So I know they joked about Disney, but don't you think Disney will see Deadpool as a risk? I don't. I think it's guaranteed money. I think it's an absolute no-brainer. Isn't that great that they're waffling on Deadpool 3? Well, so much for Alien. I mean, which is probably good. Yeah. Could you recommend some Spidey comics to me? Yes, absolutely. I would read anything, and I mean absolutely anything, Amazing Spider-Man between issues, and you want to be affordable. So let me get you some trade paperbacks. But anything that collects issue 250 to 350, anything in there is great. It really is. Anything by Roger Stern. He is the best. But let me give you, Kraven's Last Hunt, obviously. Death of Gwen Stacy. Torment by Todd McFarlane. Love Torment, which is basically Kraven's Last Hunt all over again, but it's brilliant. The whole Venom saga. Venom saga is great. Back in Black, if you want to go something a little more modern. Any of the early Straczynski stuff before they went One More Day. Hooky, which is a Bernie Wrightson graphic novel that I love, absolutely love. But anything from 250 to 350, you're good. And there's a bunch of collections. You get Marvel Essentials. I think it's volume 5 or something like that. Or no, volume 10. Volume 10. It's cheap. It's black and white. It's good. And you'll get like the best Spider-Man stories that I read when I was a kid. It's Amazing Spider-Man, by the way, collected. But it did cross over into Spectacular Spider-Man. That was around the Black Cat era with Madam Web. It's good stuff. Stuff that they're going to touch on a little bit and into the Spider-Verse. And it's important that you see the source material first because it's much better. Yodam Darkstar for $1.49. Thank you for the phallic unicorn. I greatly appreciate it. I'm going up to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Because it obviously jumped on me quite a bit. Oh, I'm so excited. The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit box set out $6.25. Oh my God. Is it on Amazon? I'll order that bitch right now. I don't see it, but I'm sure it exists. Absolutely. All right. Let's go. Okay, I think we're good. If holler in the chat if you think ElfQuest is great. ElfQuest is great. Web of Spider-Man by Don McGregor is great. It absolutely is. Really, there's anything that came out during McFarlane's run right after Amazing Spider-Man. Then he jumped on over to Spider-Man for a little while. That was great. And those are affordable books, and you can find them collected anywhere. Have they done a McFarlane collected Spider-Man other than an omnibus? Because that's what I mean. I'm a huge. There it is, right there. Boom. It's $300. You might want to get that digital. But there was a Todd. Yeah, that's right. There was a Todd McFarlane. Came out in 2016. Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane omnibus hardcover. But I bet you. Hang on. You can get it cheaper. Go look for a used copy. Yeah, $135. That's kind of a deal, though. It's kind of a deal. Key Collectibles. It's on Amazon for Key Collectibles, and I bet you could find it on eBay for cheaper. But Can't Stop the Juggernaut is my favorite that whole storyline with Madam Web, and oh god, it's so good. And that's when John Romita Jr. was when his art was clean because he was being cleaned up by Bob Layton. Source is always better. No, comics are the perfect medium. Period. I love movies. Lord of the Rings is my favorite movie. My favorite book is Lord of the Rings and the Song of Ice and Fire. But comics are my thing. Evening, sir. I know you get asked a lot, but wondering if you had a chance to read the few pages I sent you. I have not, but I'll read them tonight, Lady Greymaster. And then we got to talk probably tomorrow after the As live stream. We most definitely have to talk. I read some, like the first part, but not all. I did read, somebody sent, God, I'm brain farting right now, portion of his book, and I read it. It was good. It was good. All right. Let's go to the chat a little bit. How long have we been going? 2 hours. Not bad. That's good timing. You can't go wrong with the early era Spidey. Ditko, Romita Sr., Gil Kane, Ross Andrew is the best. All of Spidey's classics, but you have to get Masterworks or an omnibus, though. Yep. Clobbering Times. I have the individual issues, but I mean, you don't have to. They have that. They don't. It's not essentials. What's it called again? They started collecting them in color, and they're a little cheaper, so you don't have to get the Masterworks now. I forgot what it was called. Epic. It's the Epic volumes, yeah. So look for Spider-Man Epic volumes. So it's like the Essential, but they're color. They're a little more expensive, and you can't go wrong with that stuff. I even got my Spidey Super Stories, man. My Spidey Super Stories from the Electric Company. Thank you, Lady Gravemaster. I appreciate it. What's up, Mikey Woods? If we're gonna go nuts with the word Jesus was woke, I mean, yeah, you can't go nuts with woke. There is a line. There's absolutely a line. But I can say, with absolute certainty that the Swamp Thing was woke. With absolute certainty that Birds of Prey was woke. People say it wasn't, but it was. Well, it was filled with intersectional feminism. and a little bit of identity politics. So it was woke. Captain Marvel was filled with intersectional feminism and filled with agenda. I wouldn't call it woke. I would say woke-ish with a lot of agenda. I can see how people would interpret moments of The Witcher woke. I can see how Witcher fans would go crazy over it. But I read the books. I wasn't that big of a fan. If I start playing the game more and getting into the books more, I might. But the thing is, I saw the show first, so I wasn't tainted by it. But I understand how you feel. For example, The Expanse. I love the books up until book 6. And then they go woke. Took me a long time to come to terms with that, but they're friggin' woke as hell. Now, they tried to turn it around at the end, but they're doing the intersectional feminism thing now. And they've all the characters you love have been sidelined. So I don't think the show can do that, and hopefully it won't. And the show now has surpassed the books in quality by far. Although the last book was okay, and we got one more book to go. But yeah, it depends. You don't want to see ghosts anywhere, but like you also don't want to deny it exists. Like The Watchmen was woke as hell. I had people telling me it wasn't woke. It's like, I don't know what you're watching. It's a study in it. It's an absolute, it's a masterclass in woke, The Watchmen. So shout out. You get a shout out. Okay. You got to tell me how to pronounce your name though. Shabujet. I got the first name. Shabujet Vinidonash for Australian $2. That's a cool first name. Shabujet. Do you remember Atari Force? Dart is awesome. I do remember Atari Force. 8-inch Mego Hulk. Hey, 8-inch Mego Hulk, look behind my shoulder. Because you're on my shelf. Do you see yourself? You're like practically right above my head right now. 8-inch Mego Hulk right there. You see my custom Ghost Rider Mego? Right there. I got to do a room tour one of these days. I got to break out my Fantastic Four toys. I'm going to mix up the wall a little bit. I'm going to take down some Spider-Man and put up Fantastic Four stuff. I have almost every Spidey omnibus. Michelin's and McFarlane's material is my favorite, says Sonic Spaz. Hell yeah, it's the best. It really is. Now, when it came out, I thought it was good. I appreciate it a lot more now. McFarlane's Hulk run is the shit. It's so good. And his Batman covers during year 2. Oh, good stuff. Evenings. Oh, thank you, Lady Grandmaster. I read that one already. All right. So I'm going to call it a night, folks. We had a great crowd. Thank you so much. Thank you all for the super chats. Thank you all to the Modrotics. You guys are wonderful. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you to Lady Gravemaster. I will email you tonight and we will talk tomorrow if you have time. And I will be on Heel versus Babyface tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We will be bagging and boarding. And if you want to just talk about, if you want to take a break, we probably won't take a break from the culture war, but we'll be talking a lot of comic books. If you want to come check it out, please join us. I'm going to do a chill stream tomorrow night on this channel where there'll be no culture war talk for 2 hours. And we'll just talk about shit we like. And yeah, it might be boring to some. And I'm going to bore you with my little finger theory. Then we'll be back at it the next day. The Nerdrotic Nooner returns at noon on Wednesday. And I've got some stuff planned for that. So 12 p.m. Pacific time. And then again, Thursday morning, the Nerdrotic Nooner returns at 10 a.m. And then hopefully we'll be doing an Exozone later that day with Doomcock. Then, of course, it's Friday Night Tights with Just Some Guy. That's right. We got Just Some Guy joining us for Friday Night Tights for, I believe, the first couple hours. I still want to work on a guest for later in the show. And yeah, Just Some Guy is a great YouTuber. Go check him out. And I'm really excited I haven't talked to him since at Comic-Con 2 years ago. I was on a live stream with Just Some Guy. Great YouTuber, and he's been going through the shit with Jeremy and Ryan, and we're going to discuss it heavily on Friday Night Tights with Az and Comics Division and Odin. Please subscribe to all of those channels, by the way, and please support your favorite YouTuber as much as you can, because YouTube really isn't right now. So thank you for doing that. And we got a couple of late super chats here. Justin Sane, 11 for $19.99. Wanted to get another opinion on a comic. Sure. The Kevin Smith Daredevil run, or at least the first that are with the restarted numbering. By the way, my comment on Jesus being woke was in a response to Roddenberry being called woke. Gotcha. Okay, I misunderstood that. My bad. I liked Kevin Smith's Daredevil quite a bit. I question whether he wrote it. His Green Arrow was pretty good, though. But it felt, as time went on, it felt very Joe Quesada to me. But I know. Daredevil is my favorite comic series. Now that Spider-Man has fallen out of favor because Dan Slott destroyed it, which is, that's a lifelong Spider-Man fan. Daredevil is my favorite comic. I don't think I'll read the Mark Waid run, but the Bendis run was fine, and the Brubaker run was great. And oh my God, why am I blanking on her name? I'm blanking on her name. Zach brings it up all the time, but of course it's a Frank Miller run. I love Daredevil. I have every Daredevil comic, so I like the Kevin Smith run, and I loved the New Era. He's the craziest superhero. Okay, what have we heard? Comics have just been the domain of white people. It's a handicapped superhero, right? From the 60s. He was the happiest blind guy in the world, but, well, there you go. RGE sends his little devils. J.D. Hauser for $2. Tell RGE what is up. Blade Devil, support Blade Devil, and hail to RGE. Great YouTuber, and that book looks brilliant, so I'm excited for it. By the by, what's the t-shirt with the eyeball? Oh, well, this